Hello, everybody. See people starting to come in now. Lovely. We'll give everyone. Always takes a couple seconds for people to file on in. Mm. Hello, everyone. Yeah, just gonna give everyone a minute or two to join, and then we will crack on. Um, just to let you all know, this is being recorded, so that we can use the information shared here to help other people who might be applying in the near future as well. I'd also like to apologize for my voice because I'm currently battling a chest infection, so I sound a bit froggy. That's why I don't normally sound this freakish, I promise. Try not to laugh at my jokes too much, so that usually sets off my coughing as well. So yeah. Right. Okay. Oh yeah. My name is Alexis Friday. I'm the outreach coordinator here at Lincolnton. And as part of that, I am responsible for a lot of what happens to do with the Helen Grindrod Social Mobility Prize. As I mentioned just a moment ago, this session is being recorded. Hopefully it won't go on too long. I'm expecting it to be about half an hour. And I'm going to start by going through some of the history of why we're setting this up or why we're running this prize. Then I'm going to talk about the application process before bringing on my special guests to talk a little bit about their experience as previous Grindrod Prize winners. We're There's time for Q&A as well. So if you have any questions at the end, please use the Q&A function in the Zoom. And we'll try and get through those questions. You can leave questions for myself or our guests after they've spoken as well. Um, but yes, without further ado, the prize. So many of you would have been, sent the information regarding the prize in the application, and I hope that even though this session is designed specifically to give more information about it all, that you have actually had a chance to take a look at the process and what the forms look like and things like that. But the reason that we set the prize up was basically due to recent reports. So, reporting from the Bar Council's Race at the Bar and the BSB's Diversity at the Bar findings, which were both published in 2021, demonstrated the extent of inequality that persists at the bar. And whilst we make up a quarter of the bar, I guess, in regards to the inns. We felt that there was more that we could do in order to encourage students to, progress and to make the most of the make the most and take advantage of the opportunities that the inn can provide for them. And thus, the Grindrod Prize was set up alongside our currently existing Newberger Prize. The aim of the Grindrod Prize is for, uh, well, people who wouldn't necessarily have access to certain opportunities to really shine and be able to put them at the forefront of the prize itself and make sure that those who don't necessarily have the connections or the more traditional backgrounds are still given, a small handful of people given the opportunity to, you know, uh, connect with certain people that they might not get to and take part in certain activities that they might not get to as well. Um, the prize itself is named after Helen Grindrod QC, who was a bencher of the inn who passed away in 2002. Helen contributed a huge amount of her time to supporting our students, including as the chair of the committee responsible for our student activities. She was born and raised in Liverpool. Her mother was a teacher and her father was a warehouseman. And she won a scholarship to the Liverpool Institute High School, um, and St. Hilda's College in Oxford, where she read English. She was originally a teacher and started studying the law at home after the birth of her son, and was called to the bar in 1966. She took silk in 1982, was an elected a bencher in 1990, where she worked very closely with the family and estate to make sure that the messaging and the prize were in line with the things that Helen stood for. And, obviously this is the second year we're running it, so we're hoping to make even more of an impact this year than we did last year. Now, before we bring on the guests, and sort of move on to the latter part of the um, chat, I guess. I just wanted to talk through the actual application process. We looked at some of the feedback from last year, and I think maybe just talking through it might make it a little bit easier for some of you who might be wondering what it all entails and what it is that you'll actually need to do in order to be considered. But it is very straightforward. We try to make it as simple for applicants as possible. So um, initially, you'll go to the website, or the link has been sent out to many of you already, or some of your societies might have shared the information with you. And you'll start the form, which is a simple online form. You'll input your details. The other additional things that we'll ask for are things like a CV, a short personal statement, and we'll also ask for a reference from an academic, um, which last year we had a few issues with the academic strikes that took place sort of around the time of the application process. So this year we've decided to start the whole process a lot earlier to make sure that less teachers are going to be impacted by this, and all of the applicants will have the opportunity to submit all of the information required. Once your application and your references have been submitted, we will then pass all of the applications onto a panel. That panel will be made up of barristers at the inn, and they will all be assessed based on multiple criterias. But we're looking at things like your actual aptitude, as well as how much you want the prize itself, and how well your written statement was received, and things like that. So there's a whole criteria that's been sort of meticulously put together by myself, my team, and the panelists as well. Once they've looked at all of the applications, the applicants are shortlisted, and then the winners are contacted to join the summer school, which will be taking place in July this year. Now, again, if you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to chuck them in the Q&A box, and I'll try and get through to them at the end. But now that we're talking about things like the summer school and the prizes, it would be good to bring on, if you guys could unmute Florence and Levon, maybe just to talk a little bit about, your experience with the application process, and also the things that you received the prizes, and then the things you got to take part on as part of the prize as well. So, Levon, I can see you've already unmuted. So, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and then talk about your experience?
Yeah, no problem. So my name's Levon Curtis. I'm a final year student now at the University of Exeter. And yeah, well, I won the prize last year, and I didn't expect to win it. I mean, I kind of just submitted the application and thought I might as well have a go. It's written applications are a thing that, especially at the bar, you will have to do over and over again. So it's always great to even just put the application in, because it's a brilliant to add to your written advocacy skills. And I thought the application it wasn't too lengthy. It wasn't, a painful process to get through, and I mean it went successfully for me. But it was probably one of the best experiences I've had with Lincoln's Inn, and to progress in my career at the bar. The summer school especially was absolutely fantastic, to spend a couple of days at Lincoln's Inn beforehand, I wasn't quite sure which inn I wanted to join. And especially as part of the prize, winning a free membership with Lincoln's Inn was definitely a persuading factor for me to stay with Lincoln's. But to speak about the summer school a little bit, I hadn't had much experience with networking with barristers before. I had always found that a lot of my peers had many contacts in the legal profession, whereas I didn't. And having going to the summer school and each day speaking to a new set of barristers, benchers, and even just people who were on the bar course and had been a scholar or previous prize winners, as I know that the Newberger Prize also goes to the summer school. It was an absolute fantastic for that because they got to speak a lot and give lots of advice, tell you especially how to do pupillage applications and advice for university, advice for the bar course, for scholarships. And it was absolutely fantastic in that aspect. Especially in the second day, I'm pretty sure it was, we had a ethics and advocacy workshops with barristers, and I found those really helpful and handy. Ethics is not something you learn at university, and being able to add in extra knowledge into all your applications that you have had those experience, I think is absolutely invaluable. And having barristers be able to give you constructive feedback on your advocacy skills has made my advocacy personally so much better. And I'm really grateful to have won the prize. And I would urge anyone, even just having a slight thought about it, definitely to apply and see what happens.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think the point you made as well about just putting yourself out there, just getting the application in, I
Yeah,
think it's a really important part. I think especially for people who don't feel as confident about being in certain spaces that come with being a barrister. I think there can be a hesitation there to put yourself in those positions and actually, be assessed by, barristers and all that stuff. But I think it's so important, especially from like a representation standpoint, to make sure that, no matter where you've come from and how much you know about the world of the bar, that you are, you know, contributing and engaging as much as possible. And yeah, as Lavon was saying, you'll meet so many people. And yeah, excellent. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Lavon. That was great.
no problem.
Florence, is there anything you'd like to add? Was your experience very similar? Was it a little different? Were there any parts of the summer school or any of the other prizes that you found particularly useful?
Yes, no problem. I'll just introduce myself first to everyone.
Hmm.
Hello, my name is Florence. I'm in the final year of my law degree at Brunel University in London. And so I would first just second that everything that Lev has just said in terms of putting yourself out there and applying for this prize, even if you have doubts, even if you're not the most confident person, I think putting yourself forward and getting the application in is so important. In terms of what I found really beneficial about the prize, being able to build connections with people, do some of that networking that maybe outside of your comfort zone and something you're not doing all the time. So it's a really unique experience in that way. I also think you get a real sense of the community at Lincoln's Inn and the support there is for social mobility and for diversity and encouraging people with different perspectives to get involved at the bar. I think for me, the most rewarding part of the prize was the Domus dinner that all the prize winners attended. And a Domus dinner is a special kind of formal dinner where you have students and barristers and judges sitting together and having a discussion. And it's such an interesting experience. It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. So it was a really rewarding part of the journey. I think since Lev has focused quite a lot on the prize itself, I think I'll look at the application process because I had a look at my personal statement this morning and I basically broke it down into about three different sections. Firstly, I looked at why I was interested in the bar and I spoke about my experiences. Secondly, I spoke about my academic study and the modules that interested me. And then finally, I spoke about the development of some of the skills that help practicing at the bar. So things like your advocacy and your leadership ability. So if any of you have done any mooting or debating, it can be really interesting to talk about there. And then finally, I finished my statement by talking about what winning the prize would mean to me. So I spoke about the kind of unique opportunity to build those connections and to take the next step in my legal career. In terms of tips and advice for this year's applications, I think there's three main things to keep in mind. Firstly, to be honest and to be authentic about your experience. If there's something unique or interesting about your journey to the bar, I think it's really important and I would encourage you to mention it. Secondly, I think it's important to start thinking about what it is about the bar that interests you. Some people will be drawn to the advocacy side of things, other people are interested in other aspects of the profession. So start thinking about why you want to be a barrister. And finally, I would say to be passionate, to show an interest in what you're talking about, and to use some specific examples if you can. So if you're talking about resilience, maybe give us an example of a time when you've worked to overcome a challenge. Apart from that, I wish all of you the very best of luck. It was an incredible experience to win this prize. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florence. That was very, very nice, very insightful as well. A little bit disappointed that neither of you mentioned the copious amounts of gold stars you received over the 3 days. That's fine. I'll save that for the new cohort. Maybe they'll appreciate it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to go through the entry criteria quickly, just so we've got it all sort of spoken, I guess. So applicants must currently be in the penultimate year of a qualifying law degree. They must have also attended a state school or private school with the help of a means tested scholarship and meet one or more of the following criteria. So you need to have ever been in receipt of free school meals, be the first in your family to attend university, have parents or guardians who received income support or they themselves in receipt of income or housing benefit, spent time in care during your school years, if you've got refugee status, those of you who've been a young adult carer, and if you're eligible for a maintenance loan from student finance of more than £6,700 a year. So yeah, if there's any questions about that at all, it's all written out on the website and everywhere else where the prize is advertised. And yes, just to remind you of the prize itself, so there is a £250 a prize per winner, a place at the summer school where we will run 3 days worth of activities and events, usually with the help of barrister volunteers. And that will take place at the inn. So we'll put you, if you are traveling from outside London, there's the opportunity to stay in a hotel nearby, which we will cover the cost for, as well as any travel arrangements. Free membership to the inn and a mini pupillage with funding from the inn's mini pupillage grant scheme. The last year's winners have yet to take part in theirs because I know they've had a lot of exams recently. So but they should be, reached out to by Chambers at some point, hopefully over the next few months or so. So the applications are now open, and we'll be closing on the 27th of May this year. I mean, that's pretty much all the everything I've got to share. We've got a couple of questions in the chat. First question comes from Elizabeth. Thank you for the webinar and your time. Where can prospective applicants find the application form? So the form has been emailed out to societies across the country, student societies across the country, but the easiest place to find it is actually on the website. So if you can go to the Becoming a Barrister page on the site, there's a funding tab, and then the Helen Grindrod Prize is there. I will also, because I can do that, I just realized I should be able to put it in the chat. There you go. That's a link that should go to everybody. Oh, no, that goes to the polling list. 1 second, everyone. Lovely. So you should have access to a direct link. So yeah, if you yourself would like to apply, or if you'd like to share that link with anybody else as well, yeah, feel free to do so. And I would encourage everybody who can apply to apply. Um, you also asked how you suggest the application answers are structured. The form itself is very straightforward. We try to make it as straightforward as possible. There's one section with a personal statement, which I'd recommend. There is a word limit on there. So whenever you're talking about anything in a personal statement, I always recommend that you're concise but detailed. And try not to, I guess, waffle too much in your written communication, but also make sure that you're not leaving out the details that would make you stand out too. Yeah, there's also a section where you'll need to upload a CV and a reference from an academic. So the form itself is fairly straightforward. Um, and then we've got another question. How many winners will there be? So for the Helen Grindrod Prize, there will be 8 winners, um, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And I think when you compare it to the number of people who we want to apply, you know, hopefully in the future we can expand and things like that. But as the others mentioned, the best thing to do is apply. And you know, you could be one of those 8 people, and you know, we get to spend a few days together um, in summer at the end. How many people applied to the prize last year? I believe. I don't have access to that information right now, but I'd be more than happy to email it over to you after the fact if I can track it down for you. But yeah, the panelists were very busy um, with applications. I've just got a message in here saying it was about 30 people applied last year. So the odds of being accepted are actually pretty high. I think that makes it just over 1 in 4. Um, but we are definitely hoping for more this year and expect a lot more of you all to apply and take advantage of the prize and the opportunity as well. Hope that answers that question for you. Any other questions? Any other advice from our 2 panelists? Okay. One thing I will say is if you are a prize winner, to make sure that you do have comfortable shoes. There was a particularly warm day when we went for a trip to the Old Bailey to watch a court case, and there was a tour as well. So there's a lot of walking, and yeah, brand new shoes are not usually the best for that, but that's the only real thing I can suggest. But yeah, if there aren't any more questions, what I will say is all of you in attendance have access to my email address. So if there's anything that comes up later, please feel free to drop me a message. Oh, okay. So just one question has popped in. Um, you're wondering whether this is open to students in their penultimate year, whether they're plans to extend this. The prize is currently for students in their penultimate year. I think this is a deliberate choice, just because we're trying to reach people at a certain stage in their studies in particular as well. Um, I wouldn't say that there are plans to necessarily extend this, but if there is enough of a need for it, there might be an opportunity to launch other prizes and other opportunities that students can take advantage of. And we do obviously have other things as well that the Inn does, like the mini pupillage grant scheme, which is a great opportunity for those who want to, you know, gain more experience. We will cover the accommodation and travel costs for those who I've been accepted onto mini pupillage. We also have other competitions and scholarships and such that you can take a look at on our site as well. So whilst this particular prize might not be for you, the Inn does offer quite a few other opportunities for other people as well. Yeah, last chance for live questions, anyone? Okay. Oh, one more. Is an academic reference limited only to at university lecturers? I would say not necessarily. If there are other people that you can ask, I would recommend it. Or if there's other people you feel more comfortable to ask, I'd recommend it. It might be the case that you don't feel that your lecturers are the best people to speak on your nature at university. As law students, they might be some of the strongest people because they would have seen your work and things like that. But if you feel that there is somebody else that's better suited, you can reach out to them as well. What sets prize winners apart? What does Ian look for? That's a great question. I think the others mentioned earlier about demonstrating that passion, as well as the academics as well. I think are really the main things that we're looking for. The reason for them applying for the prize and how it's going to benefit you as an individual are the things that will set you apart from other applicants. If we feel that your grades are strong enough and your written communication is strong enough, and the prize is really going to benefit your um, what opportunities at the bar and your future at the bar, then those are the sort of candidates I think that stand to gain the most and usually will be looked upon quite strongly. There are sort of more specifics than that I'm not sort of able to share, but you know, the fact that you're even here at an event like this to talk about the processes and such does show that there is a genuine interest in succeeding in this and doing well. So, hopefully you'll be able to get that in written form and impress our judges when the time comes. Okay. Lavon Florence, is there any other advice or anything you'd like to share before we close out?
I think just like I said, be passionate and show an interest and demonstrate your interest. Reflect on your own experiences and what makes you unique as a candidate. And most of all, get the application in. That is the very most important thing I can
Yeah,
say to you. But
that is
yes,
probably the best way to get your application
definitely.
assessed. Yeah.
But best of luck to everyone, and I'm sure some of you will definitely be making it through.
Absolutely. Lovely. Well, yes, thank you so much to all of you who joined today. As I mentioned, this will be recorded and it will be added to the webpage and probably shared around a little bit as well. So, um, yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach us at the outreach email. A lot of you will have my direct email now as well. Um, and yeah, please do apply. Make sure you get your applications in as soon as possible. Just give yourselves more time to not have to stress about it, I guess. Especially because I know it's sort of leading up to exam season for some of you too now as well. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for your time today. I wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully I'll be meeting many of you later this year at the summer school. Um, have a nice evening and enjoy. Will probably be about 3 minutes of sunshine before it starts hailstaining again. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.